Ukraine pays tribute to the heroes of 40 years ago, to those for whom the night of April 25th to 26th, 1986 was supposed to be just another workday, but who paid for it with their lives, and to those who, risking their lives and health, fought the aftermath of the worst nuclear disaster in history. Nearly 6,000 people worked at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant before the disaster. One of them was Sergei Akurinin, who was working in the first reactor building at the time of the explosion. Everything was as usual. Our turbines were running. We had just taken over the shift. We were sitting there, drinking tea, when suddenly it felt as if the entire plant had tilted and then returned to its place. We looked. The turbines were running. Parameters were normal. What had happened? We knew they were supposed to be conducting some kind of experiment in the fourth reactor. Then we felt something like steam. The experiment was supposed to be a safety test, but due to the reactor's design and human error, it led to a disaster. Officially, 31 people died. In reality, there may have been more victims of radiation exposure. Colleagues who had been at Unit 4 came over, the turbine operator and the senior turbine operator. I told them, there are cars there you can use to get to the hospital. Senior operator Kostya Pierchuk was already disoriented, nauseous and moving strangely. We knew that if you receive a high dose of radiation, the first sign will be feeling sick. The lethal dose for a human is 600 Röntgens. The doses they receive reached as high as 2,000 Röntgens. Such doses led to the deaths not only of Unit 4 workers, but also of the firefighters who were the first on the scene. They didn't know what they were actually putting out. The first victim of the disaster was Valery Hodamchuk, a pump operator at the power plant. His body was never found. A few hours after him, engineer Vladimir Shashenok died. He died because he had the most severe burns. He wasn't supposed to work that night. Our colleague was supposed to be on shift then, but it was her birthday on April 25th, and he agreed to cover for her at work. He never came back. Georgy Titov also saw what happened to his colleague Vyacheslav Braznik, a turbine operator at Unit 4, who died nearly 3 weeks after the reactor explosion. He was working that night at the turbine in the unit where the accident occurred. When he came out, his face was red and burned. They took them to a hospital first in Pripyat and then transported them to a hospital in Moscow. He had a painful death. Over 600,000 people were involved in the cleanup of the explosion's aftermath, risking their lives and health. We arrived at the power plant. They gave us pills, potassium iodide. We went to the shelter where they explained our task to us. We spoke with the dosimetrist about where the radiation levels were. They could even reach 2,000 Röntgens. We ran around the building to shorten the time we spent there. We went to the unit where the reactor had exploded. It was terrible. The Soviet Union covered up the disaster. The nearby town of Pripyat was evacuated only a day and a half after the disaster. I started my shift at 8 a.m. on April 26th. We went to the bus stop. The next shift of workers from Unit 4 was also there. They were being taken to a different bus. They had to change clothes, but their checkpoint was already contaminated. They told us that there had been an accident. Shortly after, we drove past that building and saw the destroyed Unit 4. After the explosion, the radioactive cloud also reached other countries over present-day Belarus, Scandinavia, but also Poland, and even southern Europe. Pope Leo XIV recalled this tragedy. Today marks the 40th anniversary of the tragic disaster in Chernobyl, which left an indelible mark on the conscience of humanity. It remains a warning against the risks associated with the use of increasingly powerful technologies. We entrust to God's mercy the victims and those who still suffer from its consequences. Today, the reactor that was destroyed at the time is enclosed within a sarcophagus designed to shield the environment from the high and dangerous radiation it continues to emit. However, since the start of Russia's full-scale aggression against Ukraine, it has remained at risk. First, it was under Russian occupation for 5 weeks, and to this day, Russian drones fly over it. Last year, one of them struck the sarcophagus, damaging it and causing a leak.